Hey, how's it going? Happy Wednesday. We're halfway through this week, and I wanted to pop on and talk about a little more in depth on my journey down the herbalist path and when I started discovering when I wanted to become an herbalist and how that kind of fell into my life pretty accidentally. Like, I didn't really intend it, honestly. I think the plans definitely called to me. So, hello, my name's Mel. I am a clinical herbalist. I am an herbal product formulator and founder of herbal products company Mountain Mel's Essential Goods. I have been studying plant medicine for about 20 years now. Always been really passionate about nature and bringing people in connection with nature. And so I figured I'd come along and just share a little bit about the journey that I've been through. And over these 20 years, I've met many amazing herbalists, and we all have these really unique stories. And I keep hearing from you and all of the other people that I've been engaging with that everybody wants to know how you become an herbalist and so on and so forth. So I just brewed this warm cup of coffee, or not coffee, it's tea. It's herbal tea, it's not coffee. But I'm gonna take a sip before I get into it. And as I'm going, if you've got questions, please ask me because it's fun. Or if you want to share a little bit of your herbal journey, that's great too. Or talk about some of your favorite plants. But let me sip this tea. I chose a little combo of my Where Is My Mind and a little bit of Respiratory Rescue because I've been talking a lot lately and it's nice to coat and soothe the throat so I can keep talking. And the Where Is My Mind, I mean, come on, we all could use a little help there, right? So anyways, when did I start thinking about being an herbalist? Well, it really didn't happen that way for me. I was actually a backpacking guide and I was a wilderness therapist in the early 2000s. I was just always really passionate about being outdoors and being surrounded by beautiful things and connecting more people to nature. Because while I played a lot as a kid outdoors, all of our family vacations involved camping, but it was in the middle of Nebraska. So until I moved out west, or actually in the southeast, and discovered the Smoky Mountains, I was just blown away by the beauty. So I decided I would go to school for outdoor and environmental and experiential education because I'm the type of person that learns by doing things hands-on, by touching and feeling, and in the case of herbalism, smelling and tasting really comes in handy. So back to when it started really coming to play, I started studying native plants and flora and fauna and how they were used historically and how I could use them today. And I always just dreamt of being able to know the plants as I'm walking down one of my great trails, right? But I still don't think that's when it really clicked. When it really clicked for me, I, again, was a backpacking guide and wilderness therapist, and people would pay me hundreds of dollars to walk them to amazingly beautiful places. We would climb up Mount St. Helens, and we would hike throughout the Columbia River Gorge, and we would climb up Mount Adams in Washington, and it was really, really cool. But here these people are paying me all of this money to walk them to spaces that are completely sacred to me. Yet they carried backpacks and first aid kits full of all kinds of nasty, toxic junk. And it really chapped my hide. It made me mad. One, these things were polluting their bodies. Okay, cool. But, and I care, but I care more about our planet. Because without our planet, we don't have you and we don't have me. And what's the purpose, right? So it just chapped my hide that these guys were walking in these beautiful, beautiful places, polluting our planet. And what I recognized was that there were plants right next to our feet walking down that trail that could do the very things that these plants they were carrying, or these toxic chemicals they were carrying in their backpacks could do. So that's when I got really triggered. That's when I was like, what is it about these plants and like how do they work and what's going on? And I started dreaming of having a natural first aid kit in all the outdoorsy people's backpacks and camping gear. And yeah, so I have that now. I started handwriting my labels and it was really cool. I would pass them around my Mount Hood community and people love them. And I'm like, but why do you love them? You know, it kind of blew my mind. Like, really, this works? So that was great. Hey guys, welcome. As you're coming in, I'm Mel. I am a clinical herbalist. I got this crazy passion for teaching people to use plants as medicine in a safe and effective way. And if you're here, I'm so grateful you're here. I'm going to be going live at 2:00 pretty much every day, and just sharing what it's like being an herbalist, kind of my story of becoming an herbalist, answering questions if you got them. So if you got them, hit me up. I love your questions. Hello, Chrissy. Thanks for being here and thanks for saying hi. I really appreciate it. If you guys have friends that you think are interested in more of the plant medicine world, share this video with them. Pretty please. I'd be oh so grateful. So yeah. The journey down the herbalist path. It's a long and winding one. You know, I have been studying this stuff for about 20 years now, which is crazy to think. Like sometimes I'm like, really? I've done something for 20 years? No way. But it's true. I'm now an old person. My daughter will tell me I'm not a kid. Anyways, yeah, so after I started realizing that these people were carrying all this toxic junk in their backpacks and paying me hundreds of dollars to walk them to these sacred to me spaces, and I was handwriting my labels and I grabbed all of these different books and started using other people's recipes and passed my little herbal products around my mountainous community and people were loving them. And I'm like, why? Why do they love them? Like, what's going on here? And that's when I got really curious a bit more. I started just buying tons of books, which behind me is about a 16th or so of my herb book collection. Like I've got a serious problem here. There's just never enough. So started with the books and I took an online course way back in the early 2000s. It was a terrible online course. There were so many typos in it. It drove me nuts. I was a spelling bee champ. So I'm like, please spell correctly if you're going to be my teacher. I was that brat kid that would always tell the teachers that they spelled something wrong. So I apologize to all of my teachers that were not perfect. I now know that nobody is perfect. So, hey, thank you so much for your likes and love and hearts. I really appreciate it. So, yeah. Anyways, I took that online course and I found for me, it was hard to learn online. And back then online wasn't really online. Like you had some really old forum or you would have emails and whatnot. So it didn't really work out well for my learning style because remember my background's in environmental and experiential education. I like to see things, touch things, feel things, taste things, experience them. And so that led me down a little bit more. I started going to herb conferences, and one of my first herb conferences I went to on a total whim. And when I think of this, it makes me want to cry because it was such a beautiful experience. So I live in Oregon and I live on Mount Hood and it's incredibly beautiful. And I am very close to a place called Brighton Hot Springs, which sadly, it's still there, but sadly much of it was burned down by some forest fires a couple years back. But my first herb conference was at the Brighton Bush Herbal Conference, it's called, and it's at Brighton Hot Springs Resort in Oregon, which if you ever have the opportunity to go to, you absolutely must because it's amazing. But this conference had all the greatest of the greats in the herb teacher and leader world. It was a reunion conference, and there was Rosemary Gladstar, there was Christopher Hobbs, Mindy Green, James Green, and Cascade Anderson Geller, and like all of these amazing amazing, amazing herbalists. And I didn't know anybody. I was just like, well, I like herbs and I like hot springs, so I'm gonna go, like 2 weeks beforehand, because that's how I roll. And I went, and I was really drawn to this woman there who makes these herbal products, Wild Cara Herbals. Her name's Jody Berry, and she had a booth there, and I was like, I want to do what you're doing, and labels are so hard, because I was handwriting and cutting out my labels and doing all of these things. And she was like, oh, you'll find your thing, you'll do it, I know you will. And anyways, I had such an amazing time at that conference, and it was so beautiful, and I felt so grateful to be surrounded by so many amazing humans, but I didn't even know who half of them were at that point in time. Hey, thanks so much for sharing this video. I really appreciate it. Anyways, it was beautiful, and I left there, and I was like, good golly, I know what I want to be when I grow up. And I was like in my late 20s. Early 30s, somewhere around there. And I then decided to actually enroll in a real physical herb school where I could do the taste, touch, see, feel, and whatnot part of the whole experience. And I went to the Elderberry School of Botanical Medicine in Portland, Oregon. And that was really wonderful because I got to spend a lot of time out in the field, touching the plants, meeting the plants, getting to know about them and, their historical uses and how to harvest them at the peak of their medicinal potency and how to make great medicine with them, how to show them the respect that they deserve, and how to gather them in a sustainable fashion that will allow for future generations to also be able to gather them. Big, important thing there, guys. I want these herbs to be around for my kid. I want them to be around for her kids if she chooses to have them. And I want them to be around for everybody. You know what I mean? And a huge reason why I am an herbalist today, it all revolves really back to my passion for this planet and my love of nature. I truly believe that the more of us that use plants as medicine and do it in a safe, effective, and conscious way, the better chance we have at making a difference for this planet, which is in some pretty shitty conditions. So, that's my mission, is to inspire more people to use plants as medicine. And back to my journey and how I've gotten to where I am today. At that point in time, I was already, I went to that beautiful herb conference and I realized I'm going to be an herbalist, and I didn't really know what that meant. And I don't think anyone ever did. Oh, Chrissy, where did you go? The touch, feel, smell it's a hard one to get these days, It's sad. So when I teach online and in my online programs, I'm trying to bring in as much of that as possible because, again, I'm an experiential educator. I teach people online, and those are two different things, It's amazing, honestly. What do I think of burdock root versus burdock leaf? There's definitely some great medicinal properties in the leaf, but I predominantly use the root. You could use the leaf. I think that it has been known to be a decent wound healer. I actually just wrote something about this in one of my previous courses, but it's hard to memorize all of it all of it right away. So I love burdock root. I'll tell you that much. I have not used burdock leaf. I love that burdock root can be used as food, and that it's very inulin rich and really does great things for the good gut bugs in our body. Are there any programs in Hawaii? I don't know, but I do have herbalist friends out in Hawaii. I'm in Oregon, and East-West School of Planetary Herbology, I looked into it for years. I was like, I'm going to go. I'm going to learn with Michael and Leslie. Oh, they were at that conference too, so that was really cool, I think. That was a long time ago. And I hear it's great. I just got to have Rosalie on my podcast a few weeks back. It was really great to connect with her. I know that she went to the same place, so I've always heard it was a good program. So it's hard to do that. It's hard to bring that all in. It really, really is. You have to spend the money on the extra herbs too. So it becomes a real big challenge. Yeah. After I did elderberry school of botanical medicine and got to really spend that time with the plants, that was kind of a little hippy dippy woo woo kind of program. It was a great program. Don't get me wrong. But there was a lot of like, this is how you commune with nature. Meanwhile, I was living on 10 acres surrounded by 364,000 acres of wilderness outside of the Mount Hood National Forest. So I was like, I got the nature connection down. I'm really excited to learn about the plants. So it made me really curious to learn more about like how these plants are working and why these plants are working, which drove me deeper into the clinical studies of herbalism. And I went to the Portland School of Traditional Western Herbalism, which is now called Vital Ways. I was really fortunate to learn with some of the best herbalists in our continent. Over the past 20 years, I've had some amazing ones, whether it's Paul Bergner, Chanchal Cabrera, Donald Yance, Eric Yarnell, David Winston, Dr. Aviva Ram, Jillian Stansbury, and Rosemary Gladstar, Cascade Anderson Geller. I've been really, really fortunate, and I think the world of herbalism, it's like this never-ending learning, right? It's beautiful, and you're always going to be fascinated by it. You're always going to want to learn more, or you're going to discover something about a plant that you've been working with forever, and you're like, holy cow! I didn't know it did that, and I've been working with this plant for like 20 years. I love it for that. I love it for that. And now I'm coming to this place, like forever, I had learned from such great people that I was like, I could never teach people this stuff because so-and-so is so amazing. But now all my elders and my teachers are getting to that point in life where it's time for me to teach more. So I love it, and it feels really, really good. Really speaks to my soul, and it makes a lot of sense of my own personal herbalist path, starting literally on a trail. So it's been a lot of fun and always beautiful, always amazing, always awe-inspiring. And that's so much of the magic of it, I think. Hopefully you do too. Hopefully you do, Chrissy. I know that you've gone through East West, so I would imagine if you're still here that you do feel that way. I also have been to a lot of herb conferences. I'm kind of an herb conference junkie. I did a lot of studies at the National College of Naturopathic Medicine, which is now National University of Naturopathic Medicine. They had an event hosted by a dear friend of mine who's on TikTok now. Her name is at Dr. Orna, Dr.Orna, and she is a brilliant naturopathic physician. She also was the head of the Traditional Roots Institute, which is or was a program run at the Naturopathic College, is basically what it was. They made Chinese medicine people and naturopathic physicians, and I would go to that conference and get so blessed with the amazing teachers there. That was always a really impactful one. I always made Brighton Bush Herb Conference a very big priority. Last year, I got to go to Herb Camp on Oshala Herb Farm with, is it Masha? Masha. Cutie pie either way, hey. That's all that really matters, right? But yeah, Oshala Herb Farm, I love the people that run that place. Their farm is Masha. Second one. Is that the one I said? I hope so. Sorry. It's always tough when you're doing this stuff online. Like I was doing a live and I just totally murdered somebody's name, and it was like a really cool like run-on of something that actually meant something, but I was completely mispronouncing it. And then when I finally got it, I was like, oh, they had something so beautiful and powerful, and yeah, I totally murdered it. Anyways, I have a really tough last name. My last name is Mutterspaugh, and it sounds like Mutter Spa, but I've gotten it all kinds of funky ways. And My other funny thing is like I answer to Mel really fast. My name is Melissa. I was named after the Allman Brothers song, Sweet Melissa. And then as I've been a Mel since about 6th grade. I'm 43, so that's a long time. And I would always find that people, I'd be like, hey, my name's Mel. And they're like, oh, hey, Melanie. And I'm like, no, jerk. That's like you telling me your name's John. And I'm like, hey, Frank. It always shot my head. But now I get over it. And as I got older and started becoming an herbalist, and I wanted to like, somehow I accidentally had my herbal products company with my name in it, Mountain Mel's, and I felt like an egotistical jerk. And I'm really not one. I don't think I am, at least. And, but it was a problem for me for a while. Like somebody gave me this nickname and the products just kind of kept going with that name. And I'm like, okay, I'll keep rolling with it. But I always had this like self-conscious feeling like people are going to think I'm so egotistical and blah, blah, blah. So I started like, okay, well, I'll just sign my name as Melissa and they'll never know. And then I think about like lemon balm, which is Melissa officinalis, one of my favorite herbs. And, yeah, I did that for a while, but I'm Mel. I'm Mel all the way. So anyways, that was a long segue for your name, Masha. I'm glad you get it. What was I talking about? I was talking about the path to becoming an herbalist. And hello, those that are new here, I am talking about just that. My name's Mel. I'm a clinical herbalist, and I have been studying herbalism for about 20 years. I've had the great fortune of learning from some of the best herbalists out in our continent, and it's my time to share more of that wisdom of plant medicine with more people and help make herbalism spread like wildflowers. So I'm here. I hear from a lot of you. You want to know how to become an herbalist or how to use herbs more safely and effectively. And I am very, very adamant about teaching the safe and effective way, but also having some fun with it because, well, some of my teachers were brilliant. They were also boring. Yes, I always feel like a beginner for sure. And then there's the imposter syndrome stuff. And like one of my greatest teachers is Paul Bergner. And one thing that he said to me long ago that really resonated is like, people will tell me, oh, I'm an herb guru. And I'm like, no, I'm not. It may be 20 years of herb studies, but I'm not going to be an expert for another 25 or 95, and that's what Paul would always say. And I'm like, it makes so much sense. Roxanne, thank you. It makes my products personal. I really appreciate that. That's now that I've gotten over that weird feeling of like, oh no, they're going to think I'm so egocentric. Now I just want to be more the face of that brand and share this story because I think the story is a lot of fun and I put so much love into those products. It's amazing. So they're tasty and really, really good. So yeah, to answer the do I always feel like a beginner? For sure. I mean, there's just so many brilliant people out there. There's thousands upon thousands of medicinal plants. It's all about starting with one, starting with what you have in your kitchen cabinet. There is so much good medicine right inside of your home for those of you that do not know. I am teaching a free class about it. It's called From Pills to Plants, where you'll discover how to use plants and herbs as medicine in a safe and effective way so that you can take better care of yourself and you can take better care of your family and you can take better care of our planet. Yay! Let's hear it for our planet. Sorry, I nerd out on the planet love. It's totally the root of everything that I do. So it's really, really important. Anyways, if you want to join that class, it's free. It's in the links in my bio. Though it's so funny. I was looking in TikTok and my links in there, like I have this cute little video where I'm like, blah, blah, blah. Herb class is fun. Come learn with me. Maybe not so much blah, blah, blah. But yeah, it's not working in TikTok. But when I go over to Instagram and I click the same link through my little link tree thing, the video pops up through Instagram, but it doesn't pop up through TikTok. So what in the heck is going on? I don't know, but either way, it's going to be a fun class, and it's going to be live. It's going to be more like on Zoom. So, hey, thanks for sharing this. I really appreciate it. You guys can ask me questions in the class. There's a workbook involved. Roxanne, I'm going to get that workbook to you, by the way. And we put a new button up higher so that you can get it downloaded, because you're the second person that said it. So I want to make sure that you get it. What things would I say, like, for beginning herbalists? I think you're welcome. It can be a really wide world, and the best thing to do is to just start and taste the herbs, grow the herbs, spend time with the herbs. Start with one, see what it does for your body, see how it feels to you. Look in your kitchen cabinet. There is so much incredible medicine right inside of our kitchen cabinet, and we forget about it, y'all. It's crazy. It's so crazy because it's so right there. Like, I have an herbal apothecary, a very well-stocked one, and there's still so few herbs I actually use, even after all of this time. Like, I love to have it all on hand, but I don't need it all. You get your little staples that do everything for you. So it's cool. I'm going to keep doing these lives. I've been having a lot of fun. So I'd love it if you join me. They'll be around right about 2:00 every day. So right before I go pick up my kiddo, I found I have so much more respect for the herbs if I grow a few plants. Yeah, for sure. Because you're like connecting with them, right? You're seeing what it takes. It's really, really, really beautiful. Any suggestions for gout? Lots of them. You need diuretic herbs, which are going to promote the flow of urine. There's a whole protocol for gout, and I don't give those things over social media. I'm sorry, but you can look into drinking some nettle tea, and some dandelion tea will be really, really helpful for you right now. If you'd like, you can add some marshmallow root to it, which will add a bit of sliminess to it, but it's also going to really kind of cool and ease the pain a bit. So add some wild yam if you really want to get crazy to ease some of that pain. But yeah, I generally tend to not give actual healthcare advice or the take this for that kind of path. The take this for that is very, very stuck in our heads as people growing up in the Western world, because that's what we've learned. The pharmaceutical companies have done a phenomenal job of coming up and saying, hey, take this for that and it'll fix you. You can take an instant fix pill. But that's not how herbs work. So if you really want to get to the root cause of gout, you find out the root cause. It's kind of an investigative process. And you use herbs to support the body throughout the process. Also, diet and lifestyle play a big role in it all. So, yeah, it would be wrong of me to just say, yes, take this herb. Yeah, Masha, you got it right. It's not a one size fits all for everyone. That's exactly it. And I hear these questions all the time on social media, and I'm like, can I just put up a giant billboard that says, not every herb is going to be good for you because it's good for somebody else, even somebody in your family. Like you're beautiful and you're unique and you're complex. And the plants are beautiful and they're unique and they're complex. And it is deep to learn how to choose what herb at what time is the best one for you or for whoever you're trying to care for. And Roxanne, I am so pumped that I've got you pumped to be on this new path of your life, especially with your gorgeous garden. And I am so excited you spent your lunch hour reading about herbs. That's beautiful. Yeah, I was saying earlier, I'm not sure if you were here, but like the books you see behind me are like a little teeny, like 16th of my collection. I'm a total herb book nerd junkie. So CM Kinnaman, you are very welcome. I'm sorry I couldn't give you a better answer than that, but yeah, without knowing you and what's going on with you and your body and your mind and all of the things. So that's what herbalists do. We look at everything, and spiritually as well. Like, where are you in your headspace? How are you as a whole being feeling? which is so different than what we have learned through Western medicine. So for me, like, I do get these questions all the time. So what I can do even better than just post take XYZ herb is I can teach you how to choose the right herbs at the right time. And I'm going to start by doing that. And next week, I've got some live classes from pills to plants where you're going to discover how you can use herbs and you can use them in a safe and effective way. We're going to talk about some of the most potent herbs that you have right now inside of your kitchen cabinet. I'm going to give you some tips on the absolute best ways to make your herbal remedies actually taste great. Because the trick is that if they do not taste great, ain't nobody gonna take them. And then they're just gonna sit and collect dust on your shelves. And then you're gonna be like, man, herbs don't even work. But they do. And then you're gonna go back to the drugstore and buy whatever crap is on their shelves. And that's not fun. So it's totally my mission to help you not do that. And I hope that you join me for the free class. There's a link inside of the bio. And I am about at my time up for today's live, but I hope you guys join me tomorrow. I've been having a really good time. Bring your questions for me. I'm so grateful that you're here, and I can't wait to connect with you more. And join me in the class. It'll be fun. There'll be more like direct questions happening in that class too. This is more like, hey, let's get to know each other. Because I'm so new in this here TikTok world. So thank you guys so much for being here. I really appreciate you, and I wish you an absolutely wonderful Wednesday. Bye. If I know how to turn this thing off.